Good evening. I call the August 20th, 2024 meeting of the Sarpy County Planning Commission to order at 7 p.m. Can we do a roll call, please?
Ackley?
Here.
Renock?
Here.
Matea? Van Wielden?
Here.
Whitfield?
Here.
Huddleston?
Here.
Dembinski?
Here.
Giff? Weiss? Preston?
We have a quorum.
I invite you now to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a public meeting subject to the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A current copy of the law is located on the north wall of this room. Please feel free to review the law before making any comments. I'd like to do an introduction of the planning staff and legal counsel. Don Simon, Planning Director. Kelly Jeck, Planning Coordinator. Julie Ogden of JEO, Planning Department Consultant. Kayla Hathcote, Deputy County Attorney. Rosario Orcozia Ramirez. Lisa Timby, Permit Technician, and Jose Garcia, IT Support. We have a new item per public meetings. With the enactment of the Legislative Bill 43, the Planning Commission must allow members of the public an opportunity to speak at each meeting. The first 15 minutes of each scheduled meeting is designated for individuals to address the Commission on topics not otherwise listed on the agenda. If no individuals are present to make a public comment at the start of the board will immediately move on to the scheduled agenda. Anyone wishing to speak, either during open public comment or an agenda item, must sign up at the approved sign-in sheet located at the front of the podium. The sign-in sheet shall be considered part of the meeting minutes. Any person requesting to speak to the Commission on a specific agenda not otherwise designated as a public hearing item is encouraged to notify Sarpy County Planning Department by email prior to the scheduled meeting time. Please note that the Commission will not make any comments on the topics raised unless and until such time as they are addressed as a published agenda item. So at this point, I'll ask if anybody wants to make a generic comment. I will now close the generic comment portion of our agenda.
Well done. Well done.
The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the prior meeting. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the July 16th, 2024 meeting.
Motion to approve is written.
Second.
Who seconded?
Whitfield.
Okay, and we didn't put a place in there to do electronic voting, so we are going to do a vocal roll call.
Yes. Okay. Ackley?
Yes.
Renock?
Yes.
Van Wielden?
Yes.
Whitfield?
Yes.
Huddleston?
Yes.
Dembinski?
Yes.
6 yeas, 4 absent, motion carries.
Okay, item 1, public hearing and recommendation. The Planning Department is requesting, and the applicant has agreed, that item 1 be tabled indefinitely. Please note that a public hearing will be held at the time the application is scheduled for a future Planning Commission meeting. with regards to the comprehensive plan amendment to change future land use to low to medium density residential to medium and high density residential on parcels legally described as lots 1 through 11, Meridian Marketplace, as surveyed, platted and recorded in Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located southeast of 168th and Giles. Applicant is Meridian 168 LLC in Sarpy County Planning. Could I have a motion to approve this?
I would move to table the item 1 indefinitely.
Second?
I am so sorry. Huddleston and Ackley. Okay. Please vote. Six yeas, absent Giff, Preston, Weiss, Matea. Motion carries.
Item number 2, public hearing and recommendation. The planning department is requesting, and the applicant has agreed, that this item be tabled indefinitely. Note, a public hearing will be held at the time the application is scheduled for a future planning commission meeting. Rezoning from BG General Business District to RG15 General Residential District, and a preliminary plat and final plat of a subdivision to be known as lots 1, 2, and Outlot A, Meridian Marketplace, replat 1, being a replatting of lots 1, 2, and 9, Meridian Marketplace, as surveyed, platted, and recorded in Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located southeast of 168th and Giles Road. Applicant Meridian 168 LLC. Do I have a motion, please?
I would move to table item 2 indefinitely.
Second?
Please vote. Six yeas, absent Giff, Preston, Weiss, Matea. Motion carries.
Item number 3, public hearing and recommendation, a special use permit in RD50 two-family residential district to allow a home occupation 1 major for a home-based dog grooming service at 7908 South 184th Terrace, legally described as Lot 165, River Oaks, as surveyed, platted, and recorded in Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located northwest of 180th Street and Giles Road. The applicant is Spencer and Natalie Doring.
This application is a special use permit for a home occupation major in the RD50 two-family residential district at 7908 South 184th Terrace, which is lot 165, River Oaks. The applicant is Spencer and Natalie Doring. They are requesting the approval of a special use permit to allow a home-based dog grooming service from an accessory building on their property. As you know, any business or use operated from a residential dwelling or within an accessory building on the same property involving customer visits to the location is considered a home occupation major and requires a special use permit. Some of the relevant case information. The applicant has provided an operation plan for the proposed use. Dog grooming will occur in a custom-built accessory structure on the property. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., closed on Saturday, Sunday, and major holidays. Appointments are required, and appointments are scheduled to ensure one client in blocks to ensure one client is served at a time. Clients will park in the driveway and access the backyard and grooming structure through a locked gate, using a walkway on the north side of the home. Property has a fully fenced-in backyard to ensure pets are safe and secure within the property. Video surveillance is utilized, and there's only one employee, and that's the applicants who reside in the house, no outside employees. Access to the subject property is from 184th Street within the River Oaks subdivision. The new accessory building will require connection to utilities from the existing residence with appropriate separators on the sanitary connection for the business use. Some general comments from staff. The three-car wide driveway will provide adequate space for client parking since it's only one at a time. In the RD50 zoning district, a maximum of 2 accessory structures are allowed. One is a maximum allowable of 720 square feet, and one a maximum allowable size of 144 square feet, so the proposed 300 square foot accessory structure is within that allowable range. Home occupations shall comply with the minimum standards of section 34.12. They're all listed there. Most of you are familiar with them. And as you know, the County Board of Commissioners may revoke a special use permit if it's abandoned for 1 year or if it changes from the special use permit. Staff recommends approval of the special use permit for home occupation 1 major to allow home-based dog grooming service from a personal residence at 7908 South 184th Terrace, legally described as Lot 165, River Oaks, in accordance with the operational plan submitted by the applicant and the general comments in this report as the request is in conformance with Sarpy County Comprehensive Plan and zoning regulations. We did not receive any comments from the public this week, so.
Thank you. I will now invite the applicant or the applicant's representative to provide us input on this application.
We're not sure where we're doing. This is our first time here.
That's okay.
Ours too.
Oh.
Say your name and your address for the record.
Yep, so my name's Spencer Doring, address 7908 South 184th Terrace. Anything else?
You have the right now to make comment on your proposed business there.
Well, I think she covered just about
gonna say,
all of it.
Yeah, you guys had the operation plan. We're just looking to run a business out of the house is more or less our goal here, so.
I've been dog grooming for like 15 years, so it's about time that I'm working from home. And my dogs are getting older, so not being able to watch them because they can't come with me to where I'm at now. So being home, you know, would be nice. I'm at a daycare right now, and I don't want to be there anymore. It's loud, you know, for grooming my dogs. They're scared, so it'll be quieter for sure. I've got a lot of dogs. So.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Can you do a field cut on a bird dog? Do you know what that is?
On a bird.
On a Brittany?
Oh, I used to. We don't get them anymore.
Give it a shot.
Just checking.
If the price is right.
You got the address.
Yeah, any other questions?
And there was no neighbor input, no letters, support or deny anything?
Correct. No phone calls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll now open the floor to public comment. I will now close the floor to public comment. I will now ask for a motion on the special use permit.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of the special use permit for home occupation 1 major to allow a home-based dog grooming service from a personal residence at 7908 South 184th Terrace, which is legally described as Lot 165, River Oaks, in accordance with the operational plan that was submitted by the applicant and the general overall comments in the recommendation report, as this request is in conformance with the Sarpy County Comprehensive Plan and zoning regulations.
Second. Please vote. Six yeas, absent Giff, Preston, Weiss, Matea. Motion carried.
Item number 4, public hearing and recommendation, special use permit in RG15 PTD, General Residential District, planned township development to allow single-family attached homes in Sunset Meadow, replat 1, and proposed Sunset Meadows, replat 2, legally described as lots 1 through 25, Sunset Meadows, replat 1, and lots 3 through 29, Sunset Meadows, replat 2, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located southwest of Harrison Street and Highway 6, applicant Woodzonia 204-Harrison LLC.
Good evening, Planning Commission. Julie Ogden, JEO. This special use permit is before you, as we discussed last month when their replat was on the agenda. In RG15, townhomes are required to have a special use permit or single family attached, AKA townhomes, are required to have a special use permit. And we didn't catch it till all of that meeting had been advertised. So we are addressing that this evening. Just to refresh your memory, this special use permit would apply not only to replat 2, which we discussed last month, and this board recommended approval to the county board with conditions, but also go back to replat 1, which was approved, I believe, 12 to 18 months ago, and those homes are under construction. It was not caught at that time by staff, so we're lumping both of them in together. As noted, there are some townhomes already going up. Traffic and access was addressed with the plat, and there haven't been any changes in the last 3 weeks on that. With this, they did provide, I know there was a lot of discussion with the plat, and just wanted to reiterate, we're still coordinating with Gretna on their park plan, receiving comments back, but that will still be in process and included in a development agreement there, and also within the special use permit as well as needed. So staff is recommending approval of this special use permit for the lots indicated in the application to allow the single-family attached units pursuant to the site and building plans which were provided, and I can bring those up if you would like to see them, but they're the same as last month as well. And as this request is in conformance with the Sarpy County zoning regulations and comprehensive plan, because I didn't get that in my staff recommendation in the report, subject to the special use permit being submitted to consideration to the county board at the same time as the Sunset replat 2 rezoning and plating applications are as well, and them addressing any comments within this report, which we really didn't have any for them because they covered it pretty well. So this is a fairly simple one. You guys have any questions of me? Otherwise, the applicant is here as well, if you have any questions for them. Perfect. Well, I'm here if you need me, if somebody from the public comes up with comment as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I invite the applicant to make any comment at this stage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Planning Commission members. Brad Hike, 10836 Old Mill Road. I'm with TD2 Engineers for the project here on behalf of the applicant, who's also here. We appreciate Julie's presentation and agree with everything that she said, so we can answer any questions that you have.
I will open the floor to public comment. I will close it to public comment. Do the commissioners have any questions? I would ask then for a motion on this item.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of special use permit to allow for single-family attached units pursuant to the site and building plan, as the request is in conformance with the Sarpy County zoning regulations and the comprehensive plan. Special use permit should be submitted for consideration by the county board at the same time as the Sunset Meadows Replat 2 rezoning and plating applications, and also subject to any comments made by the reviewing agencies or the planning department being addressed.
Second.
Please vote. Six yeas, 4 absent. Giff, Preston, Weiss, Matea. Motion carries.
Item number 5, public hearing and recommendation. Amended special use permit in AG Agriculture Farming District for the continuation of an existing special use permit allowing the recycling of concrete and asphalt material at 16884 South 111th Street, legally described as South Half, Southwest Quarter, Northeast Quarter, and Tax Lot 5, EXC Row, Section 29-T, 13N-R12E of the 6th Prime Meridian, Sarpy County, generally located southwest of 111th Street and Mitchell Road. The applicant is Silex Concrete Recycling.
Good evening, Julie Ogden again, on behalf of Sarpy County Planning Department. On the screen for you is the location of the subject property here in red. Mitchell Road runs here, 108th is right here, north and south, leading up to Platteview Road, 111th, where this property fronts, is located right here. Just for some reference, you've got Schmid Farms and Lakes in this area, and you've got a Martin Marietta that we talked about a couple months ago in that area. Springfield is over to the west of the site. The property is 19.81 acres, of which the applicant uses about 11 acres under the prior special use permit. This is a renewal of a special use permit to allow for a construction and demolition waste disposal site. And in reality, they're not necessarily disposing of anything. It's more of a concrete and asphalt recycling site where they stockpile the materials, then they crush the asphalt and concrete, and then resell it for use on construction projects. So it's really more of a recycling, but we don't have that in the code. It falls under the disposal site. So that is how that is noted. The original special use permit was approved by the county board in March of 2019 with the conditions that the special use permit was approved for a 5-year term with a termination date of March 31st, 2024. and that the operations remain consistent with the operation plan submitted to the planning department, and that the applicant had entered into a road maintenance agreement with Sarpy County at that time as well. Through those 5 years of the current special use permit, there were no complaints and no other issues outstanding. They followed the terms of the road maintenance agreement as well and made the appropriate payments to the county. The comprehensive plan shows this area to be, it's currently zoned ag. The future land use is shown to be residential estates. So as you look at this, as far as the future land use, a construction, demolition, recycling site doesn't necessarily fit within our future land use, but it is compatible with the adjacent land uses today. So I guess that to me is an appropriate point of discussion, that we have looked into the future. Yes, someday this use may not be compatible, but it is compatible today, and they have been operating it as everybody agreed to previously, which is a good thing because you can't always say that. So it has, as I noted, it has been in operation for the past 5 years without any issues. They are not proposing any changes to their operation plans as they've been operating for the past 5 years. And they will continue to only utilize about 11 acres of the 19 on the parcel. In discussions with the applicant, we will need to update their road maintenance agreement. Just to continue to cover the term of the special use permit. Staff is not recommending a term or an expiration date on this special use permit at this time. They've shown that they can operate within the conditions that were placed on it originally, and we feel comfortable allowing, no term limits, I guess would be the appropriate right there. However, we are going to update the road agreement to not only include the maintenance on Mitchell and 111th, but also have discussed a road contribution to 108th Street paving project, which recently started as well as part of that road agreement, and the applicant is aware of that. And legal department will be working on that in between this meeting and when it goes to county board. So staff is recommending approval of this renewal of the special use permit to allow a construction and demolition waste disposal site to stockpile and crush concrete and asphalt materials for resale of the resulting products pursuant to the operation plan and subject to the conditions below, as the request complies with Sarpy County zoning regulations and comprehensive plan. Those conditions would be updated road maintenance agreement to include participation in the 108th Street paving project, as well as the continued assistance with maintenance on the gravel roads. Applicant providing copies to the planning office of all applicable permits as they are received and or renewed, and that all comments made by any reviewing agencies and or the planning department are addressed. There were no comments received from any of the county departments, nor were there any comments received from the public. Any questions you guys have for me at this time?
I guess refresh my memory, the Sarpy County sewer, didn't that drop somewhere below Springfield? I don't recall if that was on Buffalo Road to the south and then kind of snakes up somewhere along in there.
Well, let me see. Can I get to GIS on this, Kelly?
I think the new sewer line goes north of this. At 108, it cuts out towards the lagoons that they want to do.
No, just hit
South side of Springfield.
Yeah, just go sarpy.gov.
Oh, there we go.
But yes, I believe this area is or near the sewer agency as we.
I think they've already built a pump station
Okay.
north of the Martin Marietta facility to accommodate those lines. If you go down there, you'll see it.
I guess where I'm going with this, I'm trying to get a sense of if we have unlimited as opposed to another 5-year term. Again, it's going to take a while for Springfield to expand out there with the sewer, but at some point, I assume we will be expanding out there.
My question kind of parallels that is, could you find anything in the, why we put a limit on it 5 years ago? In the first place? Was it?
I don't know that I saw anything in the documents that Kelly and Don researched. I think it was a new use, kind of in a new location with a new applicant, and it was, let's start it with 5 and then move it on. We did, we have visited with Scott Bovick about whether we wanted to recommend a term or not, and he felt comfortable also allowing us to not recommend a term. But obviously this commission could say, hey, we would like to, with potential growth in the area, you could put a term just to bring it back to make sure we're not ready to continue it moving forward.
Are you looking for agency jurisdiction?
Yeah, you know me, I can't drive Sims very well.
Hit the little.
And I'm talking too, so I can't do I definitely can't do 2 things at once. But yeah, I thought I remembered somebody seeing a plan for a pump station in this area.
Yeah, just north of Martin Marietta. I'm almost sure it's there.
So it just misses.
I don't know if it comes up 108th or 120th, or which is the main intersection.
But yeah, that would just be the agency. That wouldn't be any improvements that they're doing because you guys don't have the sewer lines.
If we grant them an unending permit, do we have the ability to withdraw that permit if they fall out of the prescribed operations? Okay.
But only for that reason. Right.
Correct. Yeah, if there's no term, if they do not operate in conditions with their operations plan and the special use permit or any conditions placed on it, i.e. the road agreement and the payments required there, you could revoke the special use permit. Or they could also, if development's coming around and they want to cease operations, they could tell us that they are ending the special use permit.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, if you wanted to do a 5 or 10 year or even longer term, just to give everybody a chance to revisit and look at, hey, if everything's developing around it, does that make sense? But I assume if things are developing around it, the value of the property may become such that allows them to potentially relocate to. But the applicant, I believe, is here, or his representative is here as well, and we can discuss that with them.
That was kind of my concern, was if it develops around it, they're not forced to stop, and we can't stop them.
Yeah, I agree. There's no neighbors maybe to complain now, but we've seen plans for additional lake, what could be a lake use, which could turn into residential use in this area. And if there's no term, there's no mechanism to terminate the use.
Yeah.
Not saying the applicant did anything inappropriate. I agree with your comments there. I'm just saying in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whenever it is, someone will probably not like the use in this area.
Yeah, the one, not benefit that's not the right word, but it's already there and operating, so they are well aware when they buy the property versus the residential or other property was zoned differently and then this comes in later. So, that would be the one difference, but agree if that's what this commission desires, that's kind of why we pointed that lack of term limit recommendation out so that you guys could discuss that amongst yourselves as well as discuss it with the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, I will be here if you need anything else.
I would invite the applicant to make comment on this item at this stage.
Good evening, Joe Gatlos with TD2, engineer for the project, here representing the applicant. Agree with what Julie was saying and here to answer any questions and some concerns you guys might have. I do, understand your concern about the time limit. I don't believe the applicant would have any objections to setting another renewal limit on this, but And another benefit that they do have is that, you got a much larger facility just to the north, east of them that would also have to pretty much relocate before they do so.
Thank you.
Does any board member have questions of the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Sorry, one quick question. This is all trucking material, right? So
Correct.
So there's no, I mean, there's nothing, again, nothing that would stop this from occurring forever. It's not like Martin, it's the same as the Martin Marietta site, but it's a little different that they're going to get tapped out at some point in the future. So it'll naturally potentially end versus this.
This is a recycling center where people bring
Correct.
raw debris to them, they process it and ship it back out.
Yeah, I'm just
It's not a mining
I'm just
operation.
differentiating between the
Yeah.
uses a little bit,
Oh,
even
yeah.
though they are next to each other. It's not
Right.
exactly the same
Right.
thing. That was my only point there.
I see this as a situation where they've operated for 5 years without incident down there regarding their permit. However, I'll be blunt, I'm very uncomfortable giving an unlimited time frame here. If it was an issue of saying, that, we don't have to do 5 years, but 10 years, and come back to us in 10 years for another one, so long as you fall within that, I'd be much more comfortable with that.
I have some questions after the public hearing. We're going to drag Kayla up here. So,
Wow, you've been warned.
but she has no clue about what, so we'll make her think for a few minutes, or panic, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I don't think that it would be objectionable to have a different time limit on there. I don't think the intent was ever to, permanently stay here, or maybe, I think it's just kind of play it by ear and just see how things progress around the site. So, no, they're definitely willing to work with the county, so.
Could we legally make a change on this application to say not unending, or maybe make it 10 years instead?
Yeah, you can include any conditions that you want with the special use permit for the county board to consider.
Okay, want to open the public hearing?
Yep. Okay. I'll now invite the public to make comment on this item. As there is no public comment, I will close the public section of it. If it's okay with the other commissioners, I would like to make an amendment.
I have questions first that might drive this.
Yep.
Do we know if there's a time limit on the Martin Marietta special use permit for their mining operation?
I'm pretty sure there's not, according to Kelly. There's no time limit on Martin Marietta's special use permit.
So can we, instead of 10 years, state as long as their special use permit is active and they're actively mining, maybe that ties the industrial uses together a little bit.
Of the whole area. Yeah, I see where you're going there. Plus, to your point, that does have a limited time frame. Ultimately, they will tap out. So
I agree with the line of thinking. I might
don't know if it's legal or right.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're looking to you.
It could be a little punitive just because Martin Marietta closed doesn't necessarily mean it will develop. So I don't want to punish this owner for another owner's decision, because Martin Marietta could close for a variety of reasons. If you gave it a time frame, you're accomplishing the same thing, but I have no idea if it's legal to say because this guy has it, this guy automatically gets it.
And Martin Marietta just started a brand new mining operation, so that could be 5 years, that could be 50 years. I don't know what their time frame looks like, so I would hate to tie an unrelated business to
good point.
To whatever would happen with
it is.
They said in their Martin Marietta's that it had 10 years of supply at Schmid Lake, so that would, if we did a 10-year, it might coincide.
Yeah, if we said 10,
regardless.
yeah.
Just thinking out loud, the minute that place closes, that whole area is just gonna, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Someone will try to sell it.
Yes.
And I think, and maybe Kelly can correct me if I'm wrong, whenever Martin Marietta is done up with operations, it's going to be residential estates down there. So another thing to keep in mind.
This is very close to the sewer development zone too, so it could be
Yeah, I
a
mean,
pump station.
who
into
knows what's
the
going to happen to
railway
that area.
station. It is open for development in the future.
Yep.
So I'm completely on board with the time horizon for how this would apply, and then the applicant is being a good neighbor already, so there's no reason to punish them for something they didn't do.
Oh, I had one more question. Let's say we do 10. Is there a way to do an administrative automatic renewal?
I don't believe so. I think that when the 10 years runs out, they got to
we gotta
start
go
the
through all
whole
this again.
process over again, yeah.
Special use permit.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know if you could administratively renew those or not. Obviously not, or we wouldn't be here, but
yeah, I mean, you can give whatever time frame you want to put on it. The other thing to consider is in conjunction with the special use permit, they will have a road maintenance agreement. So sometimes those are nice to revisit just to make sure that the roads are being appropriately maintained, if we need any more contributions. So that's another thing to look at, because they had one on their previous 5-year one, and we're going to revamp that for this one. So just another consideration.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd be comfortable with 10 years.
I second 10 years.
Yep, okay.
I agree.
So at this stage, I'd ask for a motion on this item with an amendment, removing the unending date or open-ended date and replacing that with a 10-year time frame.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a recommendation for the approval of special use permit to allow a construction and demolition waste disposal site to stockpile and crush concrete and asphalt materials for resale of resulting products pursuant to the operational plan and subject to the conditions below, as the request complies with the Sarpy County zoning regulations. Number one, that this special permit have a sunset 10 years from the effective date. 2, updated road maintenance agreement to include participation in the 108th Street paving project and continued assistance with maintenance on gravel roads. 3, applicant providing copies of all applicable permits as received and or renewed. And 4, all comments made by reviewing agencies or the planning department are addressed.
Second. Please vote. Six yeas, absent Giff, Preston, Weiss, Matea. Motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes the regular agenda for our meeting. I will now start the correspondence agenda. Do the commissioners have any reports? Do we have any input from the planning department?
Yes, at the county board meeting today, the Martin Marietta special use permit was approved. And then also too, we have items for the September meeting. So mark your calendars for that.
Okay. Is there any other comment? I will then adjourn this meeting for tonight.